Okay, let's get to the bottom of this file inclusion room in TryHackMe in the junior penetration tester path. The final thing that we need to go over and finish is the task number 8, which is actually a challenge, and I've also opened the write-up here, a write-up from medium.com, so Shefali Kumari, kudos for this. We have the write-up because I don't want to waste my time trying to mumble myself into an actual solution, because the point is here not to brag about the things that I can or I cannot do. The idea is to learn alongside, so it is not that it is not that you are learning from this, but I'm also learning at the same time. And like I said, the best way for me to add value to these videos is to actually share my insights here and there from my penetration tests whenever the case demands. So apply the techniques you've learned to capture the flag. Let me double check that I'm recording. Familiarizing yourself with HTTP web basics. We might do this room in a future video. Could help you complete these challenges. Make sure the attached VM is up and running, then visit. So I have the VM up and running over here. We can see the labs, and I've also taken the liberty to fire up Burp Suite, which is over here. So I fired up Burp Suite. I have to pivot between Firefox and Burp Suite. Find an entry point that could be via get, post, cookie, or HTTP header values. So what we need to do is enter a valid input to see how the web server behaves, enter invalid inputs including special characters and names. So this is actually very generic steps for testing for local file inclusion, remote file inclusion, and basic file inclusion vulnerabilities. Don't always trust what you supply in input forms is what you intended. Use either a web browser's address bar or tools such as Burp Suite, which is what we're using. Look for errors while entering invalid input to disclose the current path of the web application. If there are no errors, then trial and error might be your best option. Understand the input validation. So I'm not sure what's the logic of this. Understand the input validation, and if there are any filters, try to inject the valid entry to read sensitive files. Capture the flag at etc flag1. Alright, so we are in the machine over here, and I want to make sure that Burp Suite is capturing. So going back to the machines, it's such a pity that the combination of Alt and Tab doesn't work here. So going back to the browser, we go to challenge 1. We, let's say, do etc flag1 include, and let's see what we have in our burp history here. There's nothing in the burp history. We also have to set up the browser to actually proxy connections into Burp Suite, to proxy the entire network connection into Burp Suite. So manual proxy configuration 127.0.0.1. This should be the very most basic. So it's 8080 SOC 4. Alright, let's refresh this. Again, sorry for the background noise. And maybe see if it works or if it doesn't work. Is it working, yes or no? We're getting something in there. Let's actually say etc flag1 and then hit on include and see if whether or not Burp has captured that one. Let's send this to the repeater with Control R. And then let's send it and see if we get anything. We get nothing here. So they said, as far as I can recall from the write-up, they said to change the method from get to post and actually pass the parameter file in the post request, we can just delete this thing from there. And we don't get anything. Capture flag 1 at @C flag. So I've changed the method from get to post in this situation, and there hasn't been anything. As far as I can see, there is no. We have the file parameter here in the post request. Maybe we need to also have the file parameter in there. I haven't seen that scenario so far, but who knows. The input form is broken. You need to send post request with file parameter, which is exactly what I did. Maybe it was 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what the write-up has to say about this one. Get method to post method in request, which is what I did, and put file parameter, which is exactly what I did. So we do not need, I mean, the only thing that I didn't do in my last request is to delete this one. So let's see. We've changed the method to post file 1, 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Content length 26. In my case, yes, it's exactly what I'm sending. Doesn't want to take it for some reason. Post challenges chal1.php. We have the refer. What if we do the refer file equals to 1, 2, 3, 4 @C flag 1? It shouldn't. It shouldn't make a difference. We have a post request. So I seriously don't understand why this does not work. 1, 2, 3, 4 @C flag 1. In the file parameter, post challenges.php chal1.php. Let's try the second one. The second one was via the cookie parameter, so you'd had to modify the cookie parameter. I believe it was still challenge number 1. You need to specify a cookie for the flag 2 and for the second challenge. So if we do chal2.php, this is a get request, so we need to delete this. We need to specify a cookie thm equals 1, 2, 3, 4 @C flag 2, and we need the null byte at the end. There might be some issue of communication with Burp Suite. With Burp Suite and the browser here. But in this case, we actually got the flag. We can just copy it, Control C, paste it in the dash in this one over here, copy it from there, and then place it over there. That's the flag. And for the flag 3, the issue was to post we need to change the get method to post method, and we need another file parameter. So this is exactly what we've been learning in the previous video mostly. We need to change the get request to a post request, make the post request to shell3.php, disregard the cookie. We do not need the cookie, but oftentimes when you're making post requests, most often than not, when you're making authenticated post requests, you need to specify a way of you need to specify your identity somehow. You need to prove your identity, and that's often via cookies. Authorization is done via cookies, or most often than not it's done via an authorization header. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, flag 3, and we also had the null byte at the end. I might be missing something. We are doing a post request. I believe this does not influence our challenge if we just do 2, 3. It shouldn't have any influence, so I believe that's something that this fella tried to do while trying to get the flag. In my situation we have 29. There's something wrong with my request, but I cannot exactly figure out what. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, etc flag 3, null byte. It's exactly what I did. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, etc flag 3, null byte. Maybe a space. Maybe another space. And to be honest, I don't think Bitdefender is actually interfering with my request, hopefully. Let's see if it does. No, it doesn't. What would the issue be in this situation? Etc flag 3. And what the issue would be in the first one, because it's the same thing. Do they actually want us to capture the request, the specific request to challenge 1? Right, that could have been an issue. Or not. It takes quite a lot of time for Burp to communicate with the web browser. Let's go back to home. Let's see how I have it set it up in my Firefox. It's exactly the same, but I also have DNS over HTTPS and DNS over SOCKS 5. Let's do challenge, let's do index.php. It takes a little while to communicate. The communication between the two of them seems to be taking. Intercept is on. That's the issue. I have Most of the times I have intercept off. I usually use the HTTP history and don't rely on the intercept unless I want to do extremely very specific. So the input form is broken. You need to send post request with the file parameter. So in this case it was @c flag1. We do include. Now the communication between them should be working as intended. It's over here. Now let's repeat this. It might have been an issue because the browser would not forward these requests in the repeater because of the intercept. I'm just making an assumption. So let's see, post, and we had to specify file 1, 2, 3, 4 @c flag1. We still do not get the flag, or I might not see it. But that was what this fellow said. Change get method to post method, which is what I did. Post method to shell.php without the file parameter. Let's not send the file parameter. We have the file parameter on the 13th line. Why is it on the 13th line? Probably because there was another header in their request, and the other header was the refer header. And I don't think I do have a refer header, but there was another header which was, so for is accept, connection. It's because the refer header regardless. Let's move back to challenge number 3. Let's go back to challenge number 3 in the browser here. Include. Let's see what Burp got out of it. Challenge 3. Send this one to the repeater. Change get to post. And change file to 1, 2, 3, 4 @c flag 3 and the null byte. Let's actually copy this, add C flag 3. Let's actually repeat the request like this. With the null byte. See what we have in the Burp suite. Repeat it. Take the file. Send it as a post request. Or just send this with the null byte. And file parameter to this one. We don't need to specify anything. Challenge 3. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think this actually makes any difference, but I'm just saying. What if I double them? No change. Line 70. There's no 70 lines. Let's go back to the previous one, send it over. We still have 66 lines. So there is something between, I'm probably doing something wrong, which is, I'm not actually sure what. Challenges chal3.php. Challenges chal3.php. There's no other request header modified in this situation. The only header that's present that I'm seeing is that the content type. Do I have a content type? I don't have a content type header. That could impact. Content type application X. What else? Accept encoding. So let's also do a content type. Application X dub 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 form URL encoded could impact our request, and it actually did. So this actually impacted the request. So it's really important. Can't believe I wasted like 25 minutes to get to this. So it's really important to take care of all the headers in this situation. And this has probably been the issue with the first one. Let's actually copy this, Control C, and go to the first challenge and add the content type over here. Then send the request. challenge 1, etc flag 1. Let's repeat that as well. So going back to challenge 1, etc flag 1 include then going back to Burp suite, proxy, challenge 1, go into the repeat, send it as a post request with the content type encoded, and then file equals to 1, 2, 3, 4 etc flag 1, and it's in there. So yes, I got to the bottom of it and it actually took 25 minutes. Let's copy this, Control C, use the shared clipboard, paste it in one here, and the third one, let's actually see, did they give good hints? Check your cookies. In this situation, yes, so you have to do your homework with checking the HTTP web basics. The final one, post is working. Gain RC in lab playground with RFI to execute the hostname command. What is the output? So we need to go into playground.php. You're probably gaining RC by reading some sort of a the cmd.txt file, right? I believe that was it, which has been solved in task 6. Task 6? Did we actually solve it in task 6? Yes, because you've included attacker.thm cmd.txt. We need to figure out where the cmd.txt file is. Alright, so we actually have to create a cmd.txt. Doesn't take a lot of brain to figure that one out. What's our IP address? 10.10.44.221. Let's go to TMP. We do let's nano cmd.txt. This is gonna be a PHP file. Let's just copy what exactly we need to, what exactly the content of the cmd.txt has to be. This one, and then copy it in there, and then paste it in there. Control O, Control X, and then let's just run a python -m simple HTTP server on port 800. What if it's Python 3, Python 3.8? How do they do it? Python 3 minus m HTTP server. So Python 3 minus m, they've changed the module in Python 3 versus Python 2. So 10, 10, 44, 2 to 1. We need to specify the 10, 10, 2 to 441 port 800 cmd.txt. Forty-four 2 to 1. It was the exact opposite. So it was 44 2 to 1. So I have a syntax error in my cmd.txt. What's the syntax? Nano cmd php. We need the host name, right? So if we need the host name, echo, what was the function in PHP? I think the function was something that had to do with system. So PHP system command. Was it just a system dot host name? Yes or no? It might have just been that one. Let's start another terminal, go to TMP, and then start the Python HTTP server on port 800. Try to get that one more time. Control C, Control V. Did I not save it? Control O, enter. Try that again. And it seems to have been working, or so I think. Alrighty, so it was about time because 30 freaking 4 minutes have ran.